over several videos. I've used these in private lessons for some students. Okay, what's wrong here? Why do I have? I don't like this. There's something stuck here. There's something overlaying the screen that should go away. It's kind of hard to describe. Let me bring this back. I guess you can see it. There's like, what is this? It should be clean. It shouldn't be overlapped. Okay. I'm trying to eliminate that. Let me minimize ICC. Now what happened to the game I had? Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Okay, now I gotta shrink it. Okay, so looks like I'm clean now. Okay, so the theme here that I want to discuss is sorry, is fortress. Okay, what do I mean by a fortress? Well, just think of a real life fortress. It's pretty solid and hard to break. So I've had fortresses come up in various games, or chances to get a fortress, and then sometimes someone's trying to set up a fortress, and you can't do it. And I'll show a simple fortress at the conclusion of this game, but I have to I want to play through the game and not set up a position. Okay, so I think this guy was rated about 1750, 1800, and I'm going to win material, but he's going to be he's trying to set up a fortress. We'll see what I mean when we get there. Okay, so this is a line I often have used. I think I've shown a game with it. It's the 11 fish attack. Bishop G7 allows all kinds of crazy tactics. So knight C6 is the best move. Let's see what he played. He played the best move. That spoils all my fun. So just developing normally. And, there's a knight can't castle. But I throw that at him. And he goes to the side. Knight on the rim is dim, right? So what do? I play here. Reduces the tension down here. But he's going to make an error here. This might be about where he made it. Maybe not just yet. See, we're now reaching a position where this knight is in trouble. See, I mentioned earlier, knight in the rim is dim. Well, where does that knight go next? Okay. And the answer is it doesn't. So he needs to be thinking about that. So he takes, and I take with the queen. Now I have a fork. So I have picked up the bishop pair out of this in exchange for the double pawns. I now have two files to operate on. But he's not being careful and paying attention. He fails to see this threat. And he goes here. He's looking at pawns. He thinks he's getting somewhere. He thinks, well, I'll have to play bishop f3 if I want to keep both my pawns, and I'll have two sets of double pawns. And then his knight will hop in here and come back. But instead, what I do is I just go for the piece. And so he takes this one, and now his bishop gets another pawn. But I get this up, and I have an extra bishop. But it isn't all that simple, okay? He did collect two pawns for the piece, but compare pawn structures. Look at black's. He has 7 pawns, and they're all well placed. There's no really weak pawn. I mean, maybe we could say that this is on the B file. Maybe we could say this is on the E file. Okay. But he's going to try to set up a fortress that I can't break through. And if he can successfully make a fortress, then at some point I have to just say, okay, it's a draw. So that's black's objective. And then white's objective is that we want to find a way to crack through, but it's going to take a lot of maneuvering. Let's go forward here. Okay, so his first attempt at the fortress is he's going to lock my pawns in. Okay, so this one's, this one can't move. These don't really have a future. I really have some crummy pawns here, but I have enough open lines that I can wear them down. But I have to do it carefully.
Check.
So I throw a check, and he doesn't need to castle. He's just trying to build a fortress. Okay, now this bishop comes up to e3. Now, obviously, it doesn't have any scope here, but I do need to complete my development, and so this is fine to go here. He's on the c file. I don't need to castle. I probably played king d2 here. Yep. Okay. Now this pawn, this pawn is frozen. So, right now the only pawn I can really move is this one. He's got the rest of them all blocked. Oh yeah, this one can go up 2 squares. Then where, huh? Okay, so I retreat the bishop, and I bring the rook over to c1. But again, he's trying to make a fortress. If this bishop stays here, how do I get rid of it to use the c file? I got work to do. I'll get there. And again, now he just shuts that off. So he's got four of my 5 pawns blocked permanently. I have 1 left to go. I have one pawn to maneuver. So he's close to getting his fortress. And now he's got to be on the lookout for some tactics. See, this pawn on b7 is overworked. And so my threat could be bishop takes. And if pawn takes, I take the bishop. And now I've broken open the position and destroyed his fortress. So he has to be on the lookout. And he was up to the task. So, I don't really have a threat. And I was showing a game yesterday where I just kept improving my position, and my opponent was wiggle wagging his bishop. So black is kind of be in the same boat here. He's going to have to wiggle waggle his king around and hold everything together. So meanwhile, I start looking for ways to improve. So here it goes. It's now or never. And my objective is to get it up here and break something open. But look what happens. I'm out of pawn moves. So look at let's just rest for a second here. How do I break through this position? It's and maybe I haven't really done a thorough analysis of this since 1982. I'm aware of this fortress topic. I had a student who could have set up a fortress. He had 2 bishops against a queen, and he lost his queen for 2 bishops. He was in the ending, but he could have set up a fortress that his opponent could not have broken through. But my student tried to win the game instead of realizing what his draw was. So we had some lessons. I pulled out the fortress games from my from my memory. I knew which ones they were, and this was one of them. So how do I make progress? Well, even though this bishop is weak, it's still holding a lot of his position together. And I do maintain the threat of taking on a6 should one of his bishops leave. So, I mean, not one of his bishops, should one of his rooks leave. I do have a weakness I can attack here, but what do I attack it with? I can double rooks, but it's already defended. So let's go forward. So I want to do a lot of king maneuvering. The first step was get the king out of the way of the rooks and the bishops. So I think he starts wiggle wagging here. Just shuffling back and forth. And I'm trying to remaneuver things. I want to get this bishop here, and I want to put some pressure on e7. That's the first step. And then he's quick to protect it. But look what's not defended. But how do I get over there? It's not that easy. At least right now. It's going to take some time. So here goes the king. Now, since I'm not attacking e7 yet, he went there. And now I'm attacking it. And he elects to go this way. Since I've taken the pressure off c6, I'm no longer threatening, and he has his king defending c6 also. My trick of bishop takes a6 just doesn't look like it's going to happen. But there's one puzzling thing. For him to, I think, that's hurting him. It's going to be hard to defend this. And with my bishop on a3, and his bishop wanting to sit on c6, he might have to try to defend that pawn on g6 by way of the rook to d6, but he can't get it done simply because my bishop will take it. So the whole key here and I think White's winning. I don't think, maybe he had a chance to hold it, but I would weigh more towards he had no chance. But I have to maneuver it right. And this just solidifies his fortress, but it does make this bishop a little stronger. He can no longer come to f8. Okay, so I come back and I recreate the threat of bishop takes. He protects. Again, I'm maneuvering. I got the king out of the way. Now I think I have to get the bishop out of the way. I think I come back here so that I can swing these over. We're getting close to fruition here. And he's just, sitting there back and forth, wiggle wagging. Boom. Now I've got pressure. So he protects. Boom. Now I've got pressure. And now his game is falling apart. Because let's see if he plays rook g8. If he saw if he played rook g8, I'm just going to take this. Now he gets some counterplay, but in the long run I'll come out ahead. Okay, let's attack the bishop. Well, I'll take that.
Check.
Okay. Now, Black's essential problem is I've opened up an extra file. So, if for instance, if we imagine these rooks being traded, my king has pretty much a clear path up to g5. Okay, that's a clear path. It's going straight in. Okay, and eventually I'll find ways to run him out of moves. My bishops are controlling a lot of squares. Like in this position, his king can't even get over to the king side. So I should be able to penetrate with my king into f6, put the bishop on f7, and steal his pawn on e6. And when that falls, the pawn on f5 is right behind it. So this is losing for Black. And if we don't trade the rooks, well, I'm going to swing over. I'm going to use the H file, and I'll penetrate with my rooks. So it took about, to move 38 just to break the fortress down. He started the fortress back on move 14 when he played bishop e4 to fork my pawns. So it took 24 moves to establish this fortress, but he tried something else, and after this, I came back. I think he resigned here. No, not yet. Yeah, he couldn't steal this pawn because of the discovered attack. And I win the exchange and I'll be up a rook. But then after this, now not only is he down a piece, I'm defending this. I have an outside pass pawn here, and uh, you know, black has no hope here. So let's see. Uh, this at this point he resigned. So I broke his fortress down. Okay, so we have one game of the fortress. I said that what I would do is I'd give an example of a fortress. Uh, Before I move on to the next game, let me expand this. Okay, so we're going to clear board. Okay, here's a simple fortress. Okay, white to play holds a draw, and the reason he holds a draw is that the black king can't get into the position to generate checkmating threats. We could even move this rook over here, and it's still a draw. Okay, but there can be some subtle differences. Let me. I guess simplest thing is clear it and do it again. I'm going to move it up 2 ranks. Whoops. I want that there. Okay. Okay. This position is now a win for black. Okay. And you say, what's the difference? Well, the difference is that there is an extra 2 files for the black queen to play around on, or not files, a couple extra ranks, and the queen will get behind this pawn on g4, and it will chase the king off the vicinity, and eventually that pawn on g4 falls. Okay, you just can't break. Uh, White can't hold it. But with the pawn back on g2, as I initially set up, white holds the position, and black can't break through. So you would think at first you were losing, but because you only have a rook for the queen. But if you do it right, if you reach one of these positions, you want to think about maybe getting a fortress and not advance your pawns. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to show some more fortress games